Thanks, Tim. Happy to be here, and I'll do my best to explain those buzzwords that came across at the beginning. Linius Technologies has a fundamental paradigm-shifting technology in the video space that really can impact the entire video value chain from camera to final screen and playout. But what that really means is that we are able to make, in a practical sense, all of the world's video accessible as data. And that's truly, fundamental shifting across a number of different verticals in what I'll loosely call a personalized video context. And I'll get into what that means in a minute, but it really does impact a number of different vertical industries, from corporate communication to sports and sports betting, to news, to education, even the security and defense space, which obviously there's a ton going on there in the world of video. Our vision is to enable all of these verticals and many, many more to genuinely change the way they deliver video in a way that makes it meaningful and impactful to the individual consuming the video. Go to the next slide here. Our strategy, we came into the markets in April 2016 as a very, very pure tech startup. We had a number of patents around this technology at the time, but no product. And so we went through the process of turning those patents into a SaaS platform. And we sell in a B2B model to content rights holders. So anybody who has the right to a video is a potential client of ours. That could be an individual sports club, or it could be a commercial broadcaster like a Channel 9, or it could be a broad web property like an ESPN.com, or anywhere in between. And the point that we're at in the company is to deliver on commercial validation through replicable solutions. So we've completed the product, we've launched it as a SaaS platform, and we've secured a number of deals across several of those verticals that I discussed initially. So we've had a significant win in the corporate communication market with live tiles. We have a number of clients in the sports vertical, and we've recently announced a win with a client called Grapha in the news space. The point, however, of these wins is not so much that they're immediately revenue generating. They're all going to lead to a sizable amount of revenue for the company. But more importantly, they're replicable solutions. When I say we want to change the entire world of video, I really mean the entire world of video. And today, nearly 80% of the traffic on the internet is video. So that's a big mission to accomplish. And it's not the kind of thing we're going to do by going out and hiring 50 or 100,000 sales reps of our own and knocking on every single door of every single vertical. We're going to get the scale through our channel partners. And we have established relationships with a number of small vendors around the world, but far more significantly, we have all of the big boys in our stable. We have a global collaboration agreement with IBM. We're in the Microsoft co-sell program. We're an Amazon reseller program. Amazon, Microsoft, and IBM, we're not going to get a better list of potential resellers of our software than that. And it's already working. Microsoft brought us the live tiles deal in the corporate communication market, and they're bringing us many more from there to continue and expand our pipeline and grow the business. So that's the strategy. Take our commercial solutions, put them through the reseller channel, and scale the business globally across each of these verticals. I think perhaps now the easiest thing to do is to jump in and show you a couple quick demonstrations of what it is I'm talking about when I say make the video consumable and unique and dedicated to an individual, make it personalized video regardless of the context or the market that we happen to be in. And I'll start by doing that in the sports space. Now, sports is interesting because we had our first several wins in that vertical, but obviously COVID-19 was, how shall I say, tremendously disruptive to the sports marketplace. That said, it still remains a giant market opportunity. I mean, global sports rights in 2019 exceeded $51 billion. And while obviously sports have slowed in the first half of 2020, we are starting to see that the major leagues around the world are figuring out how they're going to move forward. They're starting to turn things back on, sometimes playing without fans in the stadium. They're gearing up to get their seasons going at some point before the end of the year. And significantly from our perspective, every one of our clients in this vertical has come to us and said, okay, we're obviously on hold for the moment, but you are still critical to our future, critical to our value generation, because they view us as the way to enhance their fan engagement, enhance the time their fans are spending on stream, and ultimately enhance the revenue that they're generating from those fans. And I'll start off by showing what we call our soccer demonstration. And Tim, I think you need to stop the share there for me to take over here. So jump into our soccer demonstration here. Now, soccer, of course, is a global phenomenon. It's a giant sport. But everything I discuss here can equally apply to any other sport. And in fact, as you'll see in a moment, can apply to things beyond sport, to entire different areas of video consumption. I think it's easiest to start from what do things look like on the back end? How does the world work today? So what we have here on our screen are a number of English Premier League games that if you were a broadcaster, you could come into one of these games, and every single minute of video in a sports game is tagged with the events that happen in that game. I could say, okay, there were some goals that happened in this game, there were some corner kicks that happened in this game. And as a broadcaster, I would select those and create a highlights reel. Or maybe I'd go in and say, instead of doing it on the game that's in progress right now, I'd say, all right, I'm going to go ahead and do this on a per player basis. And I want to create a reel of all of Joseph Gomez's actions from the last 2 weeks, because I want to talk about him as a player and just really pull out all of his yellow cards. When a traditional broadcaster does that, they take those clips that they get from the data associated with the video, they cut them apart and they paste them back together and they create a new video. And that new video gets sent to the broadcaster and shared over TV, and everybody watches the same highlights reel, which is great. It works fine. But what would be really powerful, and I think this would be universally accepted, is if I, as a fan, could say, no, that's great that you're showing me the highlights reel, but I don't really care about Essendon. I'm a Saints fan, so I only want to see the highlights of my team coming and playing. And that's what we're delivering with this concept of personalized TV. And again, this here is all in the context of soccer. So let me just go ahead and show you what it would be like to create a personalized TV channel. I'll go ahead and create Chris's soccer channel. And we'll call this Go Liverpool, because Liverpool is my favorite team. And I start customizing things. And a lot of this is just standard web property stuff, determining how I want things to look on my screen, what sort of theme I have. But the point is, I can select the things that matter to me. I selected Liverpool as my favorite club, and I can say Mo Salah is my favorite player. And then I can set business rules. And business rules are how you construct what's going to play out when I come back and view this station. And I could say, for example, all right, I'm a soccer hooligan, so every time I come to my soccer channel, I want the pre-match team anthem played when the fans are singing. And of course, I want always to see any game highlights that come through. I, of course, want to see the post-match press conference. If my team is mentioned in the news, in the sports news, I want to see that section of it, but I don't want to see the rest of the sports news. I don't care about anybody else. I hate Monday Night Football, so I never want to see that. Soccer Saturday, I love. If there's a new episode of that, I want to see the entire episode of that program. Sunday Supplement's okay. I only want to see the parts that talk about, again, the player I selected, Mo Salah, and the Liverpool team. And I create these rules that generate for me a TV channel of exactly the content that I want to see. And then from that point forward, every time I come to my broadcaster who has the rights to this content, again, whether that be an AFL league or an AFL team or a broadcaster or a sports property, every time I come in, I see my channel uniquely generated for me and instantly updated with any new content that may have arrived since the last time I came in. And actually, as you see here, I just created this channel, Let's Go Liverpool, but I have a few other channels that I created previously. And I think it's pretty easy to imagine that, okay, those are the business rules that I selected from for soccer. But if this web property that was a customer of Linius had access to other sports, I could easily change those rules so that apply to soccer and AFL and NRL and cricket and gridiron, US football, whatever the case may be. In fact, I could even go a step farther and say if I'm a true broadcaster, I could create multiple channels and say things like, all right, I want 15 minutes of sports highlights for my Monday morning that follows this set of rules. And then for evening entertainment, I want the same set of rules, but only 5 minutes of highlights. And then I want 5 minutes of news, talking about whatever news things matter most to me. And my favorite shows are Billions and Ozark. And if there are any new episodes of them, I want those in my channel as well. And then I come in and hit play. And this is our soccer channel that I just set up here. Which instantly is kicking off as I requested. Every time I come watch my soccer channel, I've got the fans singing the opening theme for Liverpool. And then we'll move on from that opening theme directly into the match highlights that I wanted to see. So here it's showing our match highlights and goals from the games that we just had over the weekend. And that will go on. And every time I come back there, I get exactly the content I want to see. Now that's powerful, that notion of personalized channels, and it can apply to any sorts of entertainment. Again, news, sports, drama, whatever the case may be. But I want to give you one more example, which is in the corporate communication space, because I think everybody knows that corporate communication has gone a little nuts in the COVID era. It's really kind of a generational shift in behavior in terms of how we interact with each other. And I think everybody thinks we don't know exactly what's going to happen when we get past this COVID pandemic, but I think everybody equally believes a lot of this change is going to stay. You know, of course, some people will go back to offices, but there's going to be a lot more long-term continued reliance on distance interaction, on video conferencing. In fact, you know, the numbers that you see are astounding. Zoom back in April was doing 300 million users on their platform that we're using here today. Microsoft Teams, which was a year ago just a tiny bit of the Office 365 suite, they're up at 75 million daily active users. This stuff is going nuts. But as I sit there as a participant in these conferences or as a presenter in these conferences, as I'm sure many, if not all of you have done, these things are recorded, and that's great. But how often do you actually go back and look at what was in that recording? If I'm inside a business meeting, how often am I going to go back and sit through one of these recordings to find out exactly what was said? And I'm pretty sure the answer is 0 times. Nobody ever does that. And the reason nobody ever does that is that you can't extract the value that you need to extract from the video. So just to show exactly what I mean here, again, we'll just real quickly here. I'll log into what we're doing with the Live Tiles group. And Live Tiles, as I mentioned, they came to us from Microsoft. They were a direct result of our channel partnership relationship with Microsoft. And they are out actively selling this product now, which is using Linius on top of a solution that combines SharePoint and Azure and Office 365 to allow people to extract content from their videos. And this what I'm showing you here, we characterize it as a demo, but this is really what they actually did internally with their company when they were building out and integrating our product to their solution. And for example, you know, we can look for something like, what's a good example? We can look for, well, let's say we want to look for all the meetings where Simon Tyrrell was in the meeting. Simon's the head of product, and we know that he was in meetings, and I want to see all of the meetings where he was involved, and I want to see any time that he's talking about a product called Hyperfish, which is something that they roll out, and I want to go ahead and say, okay, Simon Tyrrell talking about Hyperfish in a meeting where the subject of the meeting was product. This is a product meeting. And then I can instantly go and search and find a video that pulls out all of those criteria I just mentioned. And so you just heard right there, that was Simon speaking about Hyperfish. And that ability to go in and instantly pull out the information I need from videos in a way that you can only do today with text, right? You could look in a book and pull up the index and search through it. You can't do that with video. And imagine the power if I'm a CEO and I want to see how my messaging is working across the company, or I'm a sales rep and I want to hear how many people are talking about the quota, whatever the case may be. My ability to get in there and get that exact detail I want, that's the same capability we're doing for sports and TV. It's extracting just the pieces that matter to me as an individual. Tim, if we can jump back to the slides there, I think that's a good overview of what some of the basic capabilities of the product are. And I go through 2 more slides. I think will get us to the next talking points. All right, no, sorry, back up one from there to the market overview. There we go. So what does that actually all mean in terms of dollars and cents? You know, again, we are a SaaS platform that sells B2B to people who have rights to this content, and we get paid when our customers get paid. And our customers definitely want this technology. There's a company called Quantum Market Research that did a survey, and I don't know if it'll actually be downloadable directly from the Zoom here, but we can certainly get you a link to this report that shows that 96% of UK soccer fans are likely to use personalized channels. But far more importantly, 77% of those that are looking to cancel their subscriptions with one of the big providers would renew if they had personalized TV as a capability. And the average amount that somebody would be willing to pay above and beyond their existing subscription price. So if they're paying £100 a month or whatever for Sky Sports, they'd be willing to pay an average of £14.30 over and above that to get personalized TV. And you don't have to be a very big customer, a very big broadcaster. You know, if you're a single football club like Chelsea, at £14.30 per subscriber, that quickly turns into very, very real money for our customers. Now, from our perspective, it also turns into money pretty really quickly. You know, we get paid an average of, not average, I'm sorry, starting price of 0.22 cents per minute of video viewed. And if you look at a typical use case for a small broadcaster, somebody with, say, 2.5 million subscribers, and I say small, if you think of an individual football club like Chelsea, you know, how many global fans do they have? 200 million, 300 million? So if they can convince 1% of their fan base to subscribe to the service, that quickly gets us to that 2.5 million number. Never mind, you know, the hundreds of thousands of other smaller and niche providers out there. So 2.5 million subscribers, you know, 50 news shows that come out per month, 90 minutes per game. That gets to about 600 minutes per video per month, which results in about 1.87 million in revenue to Linius from, again, a hypothetical small broadcaster like this. So any one of these clients that we've talked about, our sports clients in soccer, our news clients like Grapha, our corporate communications clients like Live Tiles, any one of them could quickly be a life-changing moment in the time frame of Linius and actually get us to a point of being cash flow positive. And we have many, many, many more of those in the pipeline. So reiterating back to the original point, where are we in terms of where we are as a company? We have a little bit of revenue right now. We have commercial validation across a number of sectors. We're in a great position with our partners, Microsoft, IBM, and Amazon, where they're bringing leads in that are driving us forward in giant opportunities across all of these sectors. And that's kind of it. I guess from a corporate overview and share price perspective, as Tim mentioned, we're valued at about 22 million Australian right now. That's a little bit off of our highs. We're good on cash through the end of the year. And it's just at this point about knocking down a few more of these deals, getting revenue coming in, and away we go.